Let's be honest, most men spend their lives chasing the wrong things. They think being high value means money, status, or followers. But deep down, they still feel weak, reactive, forgettable. Here's the truth nobody tells you. A truly high value man doesn't chase. He doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't bend to every opinion. He becomes the man who sets the tone, who raises the standard, who makes others rise, simply by being himself. And that's exactly what this series is about. I'm going to show you the real signs of a high-value man. Not the fake Instagram version, but the timeless traits the Stoics wrote about. The kind that make you magnetic without even trying. So stay with me until the end. Because if you recognize even a few of these signs in yourself, you're already further along the path than most men will ever be. And if you're serious about becoming unshakable, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this with a man who needs to hear it. Alright, let's dive into sign 1. Sign 1. Choose value over convenience. Most men chase convenience. They want quick results, fast rewards, the easy way out. But here's the hard truth. Convenience kills potential. High-value men, they choose value over comfort. They pick discipline over laziness, commitment over distraction, consistency over shortcuts. Think about it. Anyone can show up when it feels good, but can you show up when you're tired? Can you push yourself when nobody's watching? I knew a man who went to the gym every morning at 5 a.m. Rain, snow, exhaustion. It didn't matter. He wasn't chasing abs for Instagram. He was building something deeper, self-respect. One day I asked him why. He said, "There's no road to greatness that doesn't pass through hard training." That's not just modern advice, that's Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they all understood that the man who endures difficulty with discipline becomes unshakable. Here's the lesson. Comfort feels good now, but it weakens you. Discipline feels hard now, but it strengthens you. And strength, real strength, is magnetic. So ask yourself, are you chasing what's easy? Or are you building a life that will demand respect? First from yourself, then from the world. Sign 2. Your presence elevates others. Think about the people you spend time with. Do they drain you? Or do they make you rise? Most men leave no impact. You spend an hour with them, and you feel the same, or worse. But a high-value man, his presence lifts the room. He doesn't need to preach. He doesn't need to give speeches. By the way he carries himself, calm, disciplined, focused, he inspires. I once had a mentor like that. He never lectured me. But after every conversation, I wanted to read more, work harder, live with more integrity. The Stoics had a word for this, sympathia. It means our actions ripple outward, touching everyone around us. When you embody strength, others feel stronger. When you live with clarity, others gain direction. Here's the hard truth. Low-value men pull people down. High-value men pull people up. So ask yourself, when you walk into a room, do people stand a little taller? Do conversations get sharper? Do they leave wanting to be more? That is the silent power of presence. Not just to change yourself, but to call others higher, simply by the way you live. Sign 3. Mastering productive suffering. Most men run from pain. The moment life gets uncomfortable, they escape, through distraction, pleasure, or excuses. But a high-value man, he understands that suffering isn't punishment, it's training. I once knew a woman who lost everything. Her marriage, her business, even her health. Anyone else would have broken. But she said, "Every time life knocks me down, I get up knowing something I didn't know before." That is strength. The Stoics had a phrase, amor fati. It means love your fate. Not just accepting hardship, but embracing it as necessary for growth. Think about it. A muscle doesn't grow without resistance. A mind doesn't sharpen without challenge. And a man doesn't become unshakable without pain. Here's the hard truth. Comfort weakens you. Pain, when used right, builds you. So the question is, what do you do with your suffering? Do you numb it, run from it? Or do you transform it into power? High-value men don't avoid hardship. They turn it into the very thing that makes them unstoppable. Sign 4. Validation from within. Most men live for applause. They measure their worth by likes, titles, approval from strangers. And the moment that attention fades, so does their confidence. But a high-value man, he builds his foundation on something stronger. He validates himself. I had a friend who was offered a huge promotion, more money, more status, more recognition. But it came with one condition: compromise his integrity. He turned it down. Everyone thought he was insane, but he told me, "I'd rather respect myself broke than be rich and hate who I've become." That hit me, because here's the truth: the crowd is fickle. One day they cheer, the next they turn. If your worth depends on them, you'll never stand firm. Epictetus, born a slave, understood this better than most. He said, "No one can harm you without your permission." Validation from within isn't arrogance. It's alignment. It's living by your own standards, so deeply that no external judgment can shake you. So ask yourself, are you building your life on applause or on principles? Because when your confidence comes from within, that's when it becomes unbreakable. Sign 5, strategic indifference. Most men waste energy on everything: traffic, politics, gossip, things completely outside their control. By the end of the day, they're exhausted, not from doing meaningful work, but from fighting battles that never mattered. A high-value man thinks differently. He practices what I call strategic indifference. It's not that he doesn't care, it's that he chooses where to care. I once knew a man who always seemed calm. Bad traffic, he used the time to listen to audiobooks. Rude customer service, he solved the problem without anger. People talking behind his back, he didn't even acknowledge it. One day I asked him how. He smiled and said, "I only have so much energy. I'm not wasting it where I have no influence." That is Stoicism in action, the discipline of focusing on what's in your control and letting go of what isn't. Here's the hard truth: if everything gets your reaction, you've already lost. But when you invest only where it matters, you become powerful. So ask yourself, are you scattering your energy everywhere? Or are you guarding it like the treasure it truly is? Sign 6, your presence elevates others. Ask yourself this: what happens to people after they spend time with you? Do they feel drained, or do they feel stronger? Most men leave no impact. They show up, talk about nothing, and vanish. But a high-value man, he lifts the room just by being in it. He doesn't need to lecture. He doesn't force advice. He simply lives with such discipline, integrity, and focus that others can't help but rise to his level. I had a mentor like this. Every time I spoke with him, I left wanting to read more, work harder, think deeper. The Stoics called it sympathia, the truth that we're all connected, and our actions ripple outward. Your calm creates calm. Your strength creates strength. Your growth gives others permission to grow. Here's the hard truth: low-value men drag people down. High-value men pull people up. So think about it. When you enter a room, do conversations sharpen? Do people stand a little taller? Do they leave wanting to be more? That's presence, and it's one of the rarest forms of power a man can have. Sign 7, transcend the need to win. Most men are obsessed with winning. They need to win the argument, win the deal, win the attention. But here's the problem: when your value depends on winning, you've already lost, because your ego is in control. A high-value man plays a different game. He doesn't chase victory, he chases truth. He doesn't need credit, he needs results. I once watched a business negotiation. Everyone was fighting to look smart, to dominate the conversation, except one man. He just kept asking, what actually works best for all of us? Guess who everyone wanted to work with afterward? Not the loudest voice, not the so-called winner, but the man who transcended the game. The Stoics called this preferred indifference. Winning is nice, but it's not essential to your identity. Excellence of character, that's the real prize. Here's the hard truth: when you stop needing to win, you become unbeatable. Not because you dominate others, but because the only man you're competing with is the one you were yesterday. So ask yourself, do you want to be right, or do you want to become great? Sign 8, not ruled by fear. Fear runs most men's lives. They avoid risks. They avoid rejection. They avoid truth. just to stay comfortable. But here's the reality. Every time you let fear decide, you shrink a little smaller. A high-value man doesn't eliminate fear. He acknowledges it and moves anyway. Think of Marcus Aurelius, leading Rome through plague and war. Do you think he wasn't afraid? Of course he was. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. I once had to make a choice. A safe job that killed my spirit, or an uncertain path aligned with my values. I was terrified, but walking the harder road gave me freedom. The Stoics teach, don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a hard one. Here's the hard truth. Fear will always whisper, stay small. But if you listen, you'll die with regret. High-value men feel the fear and step forward anyway. So ask yourself, is fear steering your life, or are you steering it into the man you were meant to become? Sign 9. Choose value over convenience. Most men choose what's easy. They want shortcuts. They want quick pleasure. They want the path of least resistance. But here's the hard truth. Convenience is seductive, and it slowly destroys you. A high-value man knows this. He doesn't choose comfort. He chooses value. That means discipline over laziness, commitment over distraction, consistency over quick fixes. I once knew a man who went to the gym every morning at 5 a.m. Rain, snow, exhaustion, it didn't matter. He wasn't chasing abs for Instagram. He was building something deeper. Self-respect. When I asked him why, he said, "There's no road to greatness that doesn't pass through hard training." That's not just fitness advice. That's Stoic truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote that true power is mastery of the self. And mastery comes only through repetition, through struggle, through discipline. Here's the reality. Comfort feels good today, but it makes you weaker tomorrow. Discipline stings today, but it makes you magnetic forever. So ask yourself, are you chasing convenience? Or are you building a life that will demand respect? First from yourself, then from the world. So here's the question. After hearing these signs of a high-value man, which one hit you the hardest? Was it the discipline, the silence, the ability to lift others higher? Or maybe it was the reminder that comfort is killing your potential. The Stoics believed in slow, steady growth. You don't become unshakable overnight. You build it, choice by choice, habit by habit, moment by moment. So don't try to master everything at once. Pick one sign, just one, and practice it for the next 30 days. You'll be shocked at how fast it changes, not only how people see you, but how you see yourself. And now I want to hear from you. If you recognize these signs in yourself already, type undeniable in the comments. If you're still building, still on the path, type on the path. Because this isn't just a comment section. It's a brotherhood, a place for men committed to growth, to strength, to becoming truly high value. I'll be down there reading every word. So join us, and let's walk this path together.